West Virginia surprised some people in 2023. I think there were a lot that thought that maybe this was Neil Brown's last season, or at least a season that was really going to put him on the hot seat. And yeah, they wound up being a pretty good football team. We're going to go through and give predictions here for each game in 2024. But first, just some thoughts on this West Virginia team. You've got Garrett Green back at quarterback. He was very solid for them. Of course, a great runner at that position. And when I look at West Virginia, I don't see any big concerns, really any weaknesses, but I think the strength for this team is going to be, first of all, at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So offensive line, defensive line, that's where they're going to be good. The rest of the defense should be solid, but yeah, I think the defensive line is going to be the strength there. And then the offensive line on the offense, and also the running back room. This is a team that's going to be, in my opinion, very good at running the football with the running backs they have, the offensive line they have, and then a dual threat quarterback as well. So it's going to be a tough rushing attack to stop. And again, a defense that should be pretty good, especially again on that defensive line. So let's get to the predictions. Vegas has the over/under win total at 6.5. So not real high. They're not real high on West Virginia. I think they have a chance to maybe do better than that. I think probably the reason why that number is as low as it is because you've got the games in the Big 12, and they'll play some tough ones. They'll play Kansas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona. So they do have some tougher teams in the Big 12. But they also play Penn State and Pittsburgh in the non-conference. So you're talking about two Power 5 opponents and a potentially top 10 Penn State team. So yeah, it's a pretty tough schedule for a Big 12 team. And so I think that's probably why the number is at 6.5 compared to where I think they stack up in the Big 12. So let's get to our predictions now. Let's start with Penn State there. Week 1, Penn State's going to be a good team. We know that. But West Virginia's going to be a good team as well. And I think they've actually got a shot in this one, a very legitimate chance to win this game. The Penn State defense, I don't think is going to be as good as it was last year. So you look at West Virginia, can they maybe score a little bit more this time around? And then stopping the Penn State offense, I think West Virginia, if that defensive line can get a good push and slow down the run game for Penn State and force them to throw it to beat them, that's going to give them a real shot. So yeah, I think that West Virginia can pull off an upset here. Is it going to happen? No, I think Penn State does win this game. There are some things that do go in the favor of West Virginia here that give them a chance, but I still think Penn State's a little too good. I think Drew Aller is really underrated, and I think he'll make some throws in this one to win it. Again, close, very close, maybe even like a last-second type field goal game, but I just think Penn State's a little too good, a little too talented. We're going Nittany Lions, and then they beat Albany the next week. So they'll face Pittsburgh on September 14th with a 1-1 record. Pitt's going to be bad. I mean, what has happened to this program? You thought, last year was a down year, and now this year maybe they'll start to creep back up. But then they lost a ton of guys to the transfer portal, and there's just really no reason for optimism, in my opinion. Maybe I'm totally wrong here, but I think Pitt's going to be one of the worst teams in the ACC. I think West Virginia goes in there and they dominate. I think they win big, and so that gets them to 2-1. They'll play Kansas the next week, September 21st. I really like this Kansas team. They're a veteran team, a lot of experience. Jalen Daniels at quarterback, if he can stay healthy, gives them one of the better quarterbacks in the conference. But West Virginia, I think, is able to kind of slow this game down, run the football, and win at the line of scrimmage, which will be key. I think West Virginia wins, but it's pretty close. It gets them to 3-1. They get a bye week before a road game against Oklahoma State here on October 5th. This is going to be a tough matchup. Oklahoma State's this is one of the more polarizing teams. You've got people that think they're going to go maybe 11-1, and they're the favorites in the Big 12, and then you've got other people that say they're overrated. This is more like a 6-6 team. Like, I've seen those types of things said about Oklahoma State. I'm more on that high end. I'm not going to say 11-1, but I think they are one of the favorites in the Big 12. The experience they have, the talent they have, there are really no weaknesses, in my opinion, for Oklahoma State, except maybe the defensive line. And so, yeah, West Virginia is probably going to be able to run the football in this game. That is something that'll be in their favor. But I just think Oklahoma State overall, their offense is going to be tough to stop. And playing at home, I think they'll play solid on defense. West Virginia's got a shot to hang around in this game, but I just don't see them winning it. I've got the Cowboys, so that drops them to 3-2. They play Iowa State next on October 12th at home. Iowa State's also an experienced team, and perhaps a surprise team in the Big 12 this year. I don't think they're going to be quite good enough, though, for West Virginia, especially there at home for West Virginia. I've got the Mountaineers. They get Kansas State the next week on October 19th. Two teams that are going to want to run the football. Two teams that will be good at the line of scrimmage. This should be a slugfest here. Should be a really, really good game. I trust Garrett Green, though, more than Avery Johnson here. With the game on the line, I like him to make some plays. Playing at home, I'm going West Virginia. So 5-2 record now before playing Arizona on October 26th on the road. Road games always tough, of course. You look at the passing game for Arizona and Noah Fafita back at quarterback there. That's going to be tough to stop. And if they're going to have a chance, they'll have to get some pressure with this defensive line. I think Arizona is going to be able to hold up, though. I think Arizona will be able to score in this game. Now, West Virginia is probably going to be able to score as well. I don't know about Arizona. I do like the linebackers, though. So Arizona's linebacker is really good, and so maybe that does help them out against this rushing attack for West Virginia. Again, games in Arizona. I think that offense for Arizona is the difference. I'm going Wildcats. So 5-3. We're playing Cincinnati here on the road, November 9th. Not high on Cincinnati at all. I don't think they're going to be very good, especially on defense. I think they're going to struggle. West Virginia puts up a lot of points in this game, and they win by at least a couple touchdowns. So 6-3 record now. Baylor on the 16th. Baylor's a team that I think could be a little bit better this year, but not really a team that's going to be able to go on the road and beat West Virginia. No, I don't see that happening. Give me West Virginia here. So 7-3. Next is UCF on November 23rd. This is going to be a good one here. I think this is one that really could go either way. UCF has a lot of weapons on offense. They've got a very solid defense as well. And so I think they'll have a chance. Home field advantage will be big for West Virginia, but I think the difference in this game is going to be at the line of scrimmage. UCF's offensive line is a concern, and West Virginia, again, the strength of their defense is the defensive line. So I think they're able to get some push up front and disrupt this UCF offense. It's close, but I like West Virginia here in this game. Gets them to 8-3. Texas Tech finally here on November 30th. This is going to be a solid team. They're going to have some young players, and by the time they get to late in the season, we'll see if those guys can step up. Because if they don't, I think depth could be a concern for Texas Tech. But I like this Texas Tech team. I think they're right there pretty close to West Virginia. I do think West Virginia is probably a better team, but I think Texas Tech is close, and I think home field advantage here, last game of the season. I like the Red Raiders to pull off what might be a slight upset, and so West Virginia drops to 8-4. So a very good season. Again, I'm definitely on the over from that Vegas number, which was 5.5. I think 7-5 in my opinion is probably the worst case scenario because you look here, they could beat Texas Tech for sure. And who are they gonna lose to that I've got them beating? Maybe Kansas State, maybe Kansas. I mean, I really feel like this team can get to at least 7-5, and I'm going 8-4. And if they do beat Texas Tech, remember Penn State's on a conference game, so 2 conference losses, they could get into the Big 12 championship potentially. So I think this team is close, and it wouldn't shock me if they made it into that Big 12 championship. But I'm going 8-4, 3 conference losses, not quite getting in, but still a very solid season. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Give me your predictions on West Virginia down in the comments below.